Whoa. Hey, everybody. I'm Chad Eckert. That's Joe Idone. This is the Preferred Lines podcast, where you can find us each and every Monday evening, cracking beers, talking golf live on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. How you doing, Joey?
I'm getting a beer.
Oh, you forgot a beer. That's okay. What we do each week is we run down the PGA betting board, and we want to do that quickly. We don't want to waste a lot of time reflecting on the week before. However, it was a good week. Before we get into that, let's talk about our friends at the Jock Market. And I actually had 5 shares of Tony Finau and made a little bit of money off of Tony Finau last week on the Jock Market. It's a great app. It is on the on the App Store? It's everywhere now, I'd assume, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere. App Store, Android Store. Download it. Use the promo code below. If you have not tried it out yet, you'll get a $50 deposit match bonus. They're just, it's cool, man. If you haven't tried it, it's very fun. They're good people. Everything I heard from people is they start out with free contests and now they're up to $1,000. So people are doing well at it. People enjoy it, and they're great people. They're really easy to contact if you need anything, and the payouts are simple. You don't got to deal with Bitcoin and checks and all this stuff. It's PayPal, and you're out. So big supporters of ours. We like them.
Cool. What we do each week is we talk about the betting board, but you know what? We wanted to maybe talk quickly about Tony Finau. How fun was it that Tony Finau won? I know you know what I know about him, is that he went into beast mode. He had the scary beard. First of all, he has the mean beard, and he was good. It was great.
I fucking loved it, man. Me at this point, and how much I put into that kind of stuff of competitive spirit and focus and determination, and I love that kind of shit. And he gave us everything that I've been asking for 3 years from him. And he gave it to us on that back 9. I was talking earlier on the phone with a friend of mine and a friend of the pod who, we were kind of debating. Part of it felt like Rahm lost it just because number 1 player in the world, 3-stroke lead heading into the back 9. But I think we both landed on Finau won that thing, man. 5 under on the back, 6 under on the day on a Sunday. Got up and down out of the bunker on 15 from a tough spot. Got up and down on the bunker on 18 from a tough spot. And I won nothing, but I'm so happy for him. I hope that this can sort of give him the confidence that he needs and show him no more Mr. Nice Guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. So that locks him into the Ryder Cup.
Yes, I believe he's locked in on points, but if he's not, he's 100% on the team.
Now, are we going to care about people motivated for the Ryder Cup? Because there's some names on that bubble. Should we think about that this week when we're making a betting card?
I think a lot of it right now, where the biggest question mark is Pat Reed. Pneumonia is serious shit, and I don't know if I'm not a doctor, but I had pneumonia when I was 19 years old. I was a freshman in college playing college lacrosse, was in the
pneumonia tout
of my entire life. And I was in the hospital for 23 days with pneumonia.
What?
I was in the best shape of my life at 19. It's no joke. I can't imagine that if he's in there for a while, he's going to come out right. He's going to lose a ton of weight. You can't really eat. It's serious shit, dude. And he's going to, if it's as bad as they say he is, he's going to be really sick. And I wish him all the best, but I can't imagine him being ready to go in 2 weeks to fully prep for a Ryder Cup at this point. I don't know enough about his situation. Everyone's different, but
I imagine we hear from him in the next couple of days. I'm out of the Ryder Cup, or I'm bowing out, because he's already going to not make the Tour Championship. It looks like. I think. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the math. I think he's out of the Tour Championship because he's not playing this week. So then he's out of that, and maybe he just decides to shut it down. I mean, we saw what he did. He just worked his body, and he played every single week for a year, going from here to there and being on planes and germs and all that stuff, and it just caught up to him. So I think he bows out. Patrick Reed's out. So then that leaves then another bubble boy becomes available almost. If you think that maybe Reed had a spot locked up, then maybe he's out. So we're looking at, is Harris English going to make the Ryder Cup? Is he going to be a Ryder Cupper?
I think he might.
Yeah.
I think that the person that yes, I think he's going to at this point. If he plays well again this week, he's pretty much a shoo-in, I believe, for the Tour Championship, where I expect him to play well again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, if I'm making Team USA and I'm making the captain's picks, I'm not picking Harris English, but I can see why he's played so well that he's making that decision more difficult than it would have been a couple of months ago. So you can't just ignore a guy who's having a great year like that. It's tough, man. I like Scotty Scheffler. I'm a big proponent of getting the young guys reps in this thing. I'm a big proponent of them coming off of college golf where there's a camaraderie aspect. They understand team golf. I just like the kid, and I think he's a killer. And I think he possesses something long-term for Team USA that maybe Harris English doesn't. He's at sort of the tail end. But it's when you're a captain, it's win on your year. Like, you don't care about the next round in USA 4 years from now. You care about winning as a captain, and you don't want to be 0-1.
So maybe they'll side with the Webb Simpsons and the veterans, and maybe even Phil will make it. Or if there's a bubble between somebody and somebody else, they'll just skip those two people and choose the dad, Phil, pluck him to put on the team. We got some people in the chat. We got Charlie. He's always here. He's a big fan of ours.
What up, boys? What up, Charlie?
D Flowers is in here. Always hanging out. You can comment, like, and subscribe. You can rate and review, and you can do all those things. But we're going to get to the betting board. That's 7 minutes in. Not too bad. Here we go. At the tippity tip top, you have Jon Rahm. 5.5 to 1. Joe, can you argue that this is a good bet?
Roll that R on Jon Rahm. I love how you say his name. It's been a while at the tippity tip top of the board that you've said that name this year. So yeah, look, these odds are a little different than mine. I see plus 650, and I also see only one other guy under 20 to 1. Essentially, what they're telling you there is Jon Rahm is 3 times more likely than the next best player in the field to win this golf tournament. He's incredible.
He kind of is.
I don't see a situation where he had like his B- game for 2 days and still almost won that tournament. His strokes gained numbers over the last 5 tournaments are worldly. Let me see what it is. Plus, he's averaging plus 10.6 strokes gained on the field over his last 5 tournaments. And that doesn't include the Memorial, which he was absolutely steamrolling, or else it'd be like plus 13 or something like this because he had to withdraw. First, third, 8th in his last 4 tournaments. He's unbelievable. He should once again set up well. I think this is a course that's going to reward distance and off the tee game. He's one of the best guys on tour with the driver in his hand. This course supposedly favors a little bit of a fade off the tee, which he's great at. Yeah, he's deserving of the price. I'm not going to bet it. I'm just going to once again plug my nose, take my guys down in the high 20s and 30s, and just hope and pray that Jon Rahm doesn't win, because I think he should win.
Dude, it's kind of nice having Rahm up there because it gives us better numbers on the guys maybe that we like in the 20s and the 30s that they're normally going to be in the teens if Rahm isn't dominating like he is. Do you have any idea of the course that they're playing? It's called the Caves or something. Are you familiar with this course? Is this Maryland course?
I've done a lot of digging on this thing today, actually. It started with some of my own stuff, just digging through their website, digging through some articles written on the course, digging through some stuff that Fazio said about the course, who's the designer. I read the article that's always great by our guy PGA Tout, who was on the show last week. I listened to Andy Lack's thing when he sort of dove into the course, and he was stuck at an airport, so he kind of dove really deep this week and spent like 8 hours there. So just a ton of good information. 7,500 yards, bent grass, par 72. Seems like par 5 scoring is going to be real important. They're all in that 550 to 600 yard range, which means they should be gettable. They should be birdie opportunities. Off the tee, Quail Hollow is the comp that I think most people are using, in which Rory just won the Wells Fargo at. Off the tee is huge there. One of the more correlated to success courses for off the tee and distance on tour. Undulating greens, Fazio, they have these sort of quadrants and tiers that slope everywhere. I kind of have a good feel of what we're going to get and what I hopefully will lean on in terms of finding a winner that's hopefully not John Rahm.
Does it feel a little bit like it might be just a repeat of last week?
So I do think the course is very different, but yeah, I feel like a leaderboard could come down to a lot of the same stuff. We're probably going to see Rahm there. I wouldn't be surprised if now we see Finau there. It's kind of a weird, awkward situation with them playing on a Monday. So,
right.
I brought up the tweet earlier. They're on a short prep week, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, they're also on an awkward prep week because it's to a place they've never been before. I would assume the majority of the guys are setting foot on the course today for the first time and probably playing 5-6 holes, maybe checking out the short game range for a little bit. Yeah, so it's a little bit of an awkward spot. It's FedEx Cup playoffs. I expect the cream to sort of rise, right?
Yeah, and then maybe it doesn't matter that they're a new rookie, young guy, because they're kind of used to playing courses for the first time ever. Yeah. So that might give them a nod. I don't know. I think you pretty much have to just put the blinders on. And like Charlie R in the chat says, always go with your gut.
Bingo.
All right, let's keep going down the board. Did you choose anyone? I mean, we're not going to take John Rahm. We can't do it. We could never do it even for a top 5 or top 10. They're not going to happen. What about a Xander at 16 in this sports book? This is the DraftKings sports book. Again, I've seen different numbers, like you said, at different places. So shop it around. What about a Xander at 16 or a Spieth? I mean, we got him at 16, JT at 18, or Colin Morikawa, and those are the names that are under 20-1 in this book. Are you choosing one of those names, or are you going to the 20s? Because the 20s are loaded. You have DJ, Bryson, Louis, Rory, Brooks, Cantlay, Cam Smith, Finau. I mean, we're in the playoffs, and it's great. It's juicy. It's a juicy board. Did you take Brooks at 25?
Yeah, I'm going straight to the high 20s. So Xander is the one I considered. He's the lowest odds in here. Morikawa, I have a little bit of injury concerns. Spieth seems to be back in this mode where things are volatile in terms of, I mean, the guy shot a 62. I think Justin Ray said he was the first ever guy to have back-to-back eagles and then back-to-back triples in the same tournament. Only Spieth can do that kind of shit. DJ, I'm worried about. Justin Thomas is coming off a week where he gained almost 5 strokes putting. That worries me a little bit, because that's hard to repeat, and he didn't really come through in many of the clutch moments that I witnessed, at least. So, yeah, I've got a trio. And I saw our guy Luke tweeted this out earlier, and I was thinking the exact same thing. I was going to wait and do a little bit more research first, but it was just 3 total, like Charlie said, gut plays right off the top. Bryson, Rory, Brooks, give me the Bash brothers, all 3 of them. Pound it down there, make some putts. Like I got them all at 28-1, so I got them all in good numbers as to what they are now. Bryson has been plummeting. I think started at 35 all the way down to 22 on DraftKings.
Oh, wow. Dude, Joe, while I was writing this little script for the tonight or looking at it to put the notes together, the Bryson number disappeared. It was gone off the book for a second. They were scared. They were scrambling. It's shifted.
It's getting hammered by everybody. Look,
I mean, it makes sense, right? Yeah, for sure.
I did the same thing off the tee in the field.
Dude, right? I got 5 on all of those things. I just went 5, 5, 5, 5. And then I'm like, I'm going to figure out the house bet later, and I'm going to go 5 on all the top of the board, because this is going to be the top of the board is going to crash. You're going to get it's just take the 25s, and you just take them. Like, well, we're not smarter than the book.
It's the one that concerns me the most there, ironically, is Brooks, but I'm not going to miss him at 28-1. Rory, I love the Quail Hollow thing. I love his everyone loved him last week because the iron play and the ball striking was back, and then he struck it like shit last week. So I love him in a good bounce back spot here. I love him with the Quail Hollow comp. Bryson is the best guy off the tee in the field. He's the longest guy off the tee. He's great at par 5 scoring in this range. I think he's making a shitload of birdies. He's just bogeying too much. So, like, if he can eliminate that, I think that the scoring is there. And Brooks is my guy, 28-1. He's just stringing together a lot of leaderboard finishes that I call.
Okay.
Like he's being shown a lot on the coverage because CBS knows, like it's almost like they know, like even though Brooks is 7 back, we're going to show him because we feel this volcano about to erupt with him. And
it always could. Yeah.
And we don't want to miss it. And people want to watch Brooks. I want to watch Brooks. He's had a bunch of top 10s. Like he's too good. The win is coming, and I'm not going to miss it at 28-1 with those other 2 guys.
Could you blame someone for taking a Louis or a Cam Smith because they've just been circling the wagon and they might fall through to the winner's circle by chance?
I'm not going to blame them, but I don't think either of those are good bets with those other 3 guys that I mentioned at the same number.
Okay.
Agreed? Okay.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Totally agree. Now, I'm not going back to Finau. The 5-1 is not as great as the, 10-1 last week on a top 5. So I will not be doing that. It's a great call. Okay. So Scotty Scheffler, he starts off the 30 range. Do you have anyone here? Because it's juicy. This, Joe, kind of proves that it's a popularity contest when it comes down to betting and putting a number on a person. The board, let's just be honest. They put it in like, do you like this guy or this guy better? Like in nothing to do with the course, nothing to do with their form, nothing to do with anything. That's why you saw Ricky Fowler always up here every time. But that's what you're getting, where you're getting the Scheffler, Casey, English, Answer, Berger, Hovland in the 30s, and they're just as able and viable for a win than anyone else. They just don't have that name value that a Louis might, or a DJ or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like this range, can you still get value out of this?
Yeah, but you have a very strong point there that I want to circle back to, and that this range is so much of a popularity contest. It's almost not we skew how these guys are playing because we hear their names, and it becomes like that's the situation with Scotty Scheffler right now. I like Scotty. I just made a case for him to make the Ryder Cup. I don't think he should be 30-1. I don't. And the same thing happened with Finau. Like Finau all of a sudden was in 30-1 all the time, and then he got unpopular. And yeah, he wasn't playing great, but these are his, at the Masters, he top 10. At the PGA, he top 10. At the Open Championship, he top 15. Like, it wasn't like the guy had just, fallen off the Spieth and Jason Day cliff. Like, he's still top 15ing in 3 out of 4 majors, and all of a sudden he drops down to 66-1 because he just wasn't as popular anymore. Like, Scotty shouldn't be there when Victor and Dan Berger are there.
Correct.
That's my point. And Hideki, who just won the Masters this year. That's why to me your point is spot on about it being a popularity contest, and they're protecting themselves because those are the tickets that they're going to take in, which makes sense, but I'm not going to reach for it when I feel like the value is kind of deflated in a sense.
Exactly. So then, well, okay, I did it. I did Daniel Berger for the house bet this week, Joe.
Revealed. Pulled back the curtain on the house bet, and I'm in on Berger too, but I want your reason.
Okay. Well, that helps me. Again, I found him at 33, or I don't remember what I found him at. You can get him at 35. Maybe. Hey, I'd take him at 30-1 for this. At this point, Daniel Berger is a good golfer, had a great season, playing great. He can pull a Finau and solidify his spot on that Ryder Cup team with a win this week. So I kind of like that motivation. Last week, we saw him play super well with the irons, and it's just so frustrating when you just are let down by the putter. He lost 5 strokes putting. So we've got Dan Berger coming off a week where we've seen the irons. We've seen the irons consistently all season. That's not a problem. And we've seen him gain 5 or so strokes putting before. That's not out of the realm of possibility. So we got Dan Berger in the 30s, maybe a little bit overlooked, but the stellar year he's having, 5th at the WGC. He was 8th at the Open. Then before that, 7th at the US Open. He's at a 3rd. He's at a 9th at the Players. Dude won in February at the Pebble Beach. This is, top 10s before that to start the season at the Tournament Champions at the Sony Open. Daniel Berger, we're going to put some real money on it a little bit, having some fun. We're looking for a real mega profit on Daniel Berger. Let's do it. You're eating the burger, so let's go.
Yeah. I'm in on how's your burger. Approach numbers have been off the charts. Probably the best approach run of his career. Tee to green has been great. 6 straight starts, averaging 6 strokes gained tee to green over those last 6. You mentioned lost 6 strokes putting last week. chipped in on 18 on Friday to make the weekend and save a lot of DraftKings lineups for a lot of people who he was one of the highest owned guys. So that was kind of funny to see, but I expect a good bounce back spot for him. Going to hit a lot of fairways, really good at the sort of the proximity numbers that I looked at that I think is going to be the most common yardage where people have approach shots from this week. Number one in the field rated out for me. Like I said, number one in approach over the last short term, 12 rounds. Playing good, man. I got a 40. He's at 35 here. I feel very strongly about either one of those numbers.
Cool. All right, let's go to the 40s where you can find Webb Simpson, actually, Hideki Matsuyama, Shane Lowry at 45, Corey Connors at 45, and Joe, actually, what surprises me, I think that statistically Shane Lowry might pop the highest on the models in this category. So do you have any interest in Shane Lowry? Is that weird to want him over even Hideki or Simpson?
Let me see, because I'm curious where he was. No, in the mixed model that I ran, he wasn't great, but yes, he was very good last week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have interest in him over Webb. I think I like Hideki. I think I have too many bets in with four guys, basically sub 40 to 1, that I probably don't have room to add Hideki, but that is a fair number on him. Like the guy, I feel like this place should set up great for him.
If he had won, what was it that he was in? It was the Wyndham. Was he in the playoff for that? If he had won that, we'd see him at 28 because this is a popularity contest, and maybe Hideki's not as popular. Now let's go to Sam Burns at 55, or you got Cameron Tringali. This is 60 now, 60 to 1. Kevin Na 60 to 1. Joaquin Neiman, Charlie Hoffman 65 with Sung Jae and Russell Henley. We got Keegan at 70. Are you gonna do these, or are we? This isn't the week for these names, is it?
No, probably not. I wanted to bet Sam Burns. I felt like that number wasn't good enough. I ended up going with Sergio instead, who I think is 90 to 1 versus the 55.
Okay.
I think they have a lot of similar traits. They're both great off the tee. He's 100 to 1 right there. No. Sergio is still one of the best drivers of the ball on the planet, fourth in off the tee over the last 24 rounds. Has some good comps in the different courses that I looked up that I think could set up favorably for him this week. 7 to 1 on a top 10 number, I think is pretty good. I think this place should set up well for his strengths and his traits.
I mean, do you need a bomber, or can we use Kevin Na? Because he's played so well, so consistently. He's 3 top 10s in his last 4 events. Kevin Na? Or no?
You don't need a bomber. I think it's a plus this week. But I'm not gonna rule someone out because they're not. Too many times we see these things show up. We saw it at Quail with Rory the last time around. That's sort of a bomber's course. We see it at Augusta. We see it at all these. We saw it at Kiowa. You don't always. There's different ways to get it done. And when you putt as well as Kevin Na, you can get up and down from everywhere, and your iron play is relatively dialed in. I think that he could. I'm not going to knock him and cross him off because he doesn't hit it 320.
Okay. All right. Well, so should we then move to the long shot region where? Joe, do you want to quick tease that video you have on your Twitter page at Tour Picks each Tuesday? It's called the Launch Drive or Lunchtime Long Shot.
Yes, check that out for me. What it is, this is where I became me, right?
Yeah.
No, it's probably my favorite thing that I do all week. It's cheesy. It's in my car. It's on my lunch break. I rip off a couple of guys that I like at long numbers and have done really well this year with it. The best year I've ever had with lunchtime long shots. So the other guy that I like, which I think you're alluding to here, is 150 to 1. I don't know what he is on DraftKings, but I took a flyer on Lee Westwood.
It's going to be he's 140
top 10 this week. So here's why. Last week, his best finish in a while, 27th at the Northern Trust. He had his best off the tee week in terms of with the driver that he's had since that run that he made of back-to-back second place finishes that culminated at the API. He also lost strokes putting in 3 out of 4 rounds last week. And when Lee Westwood loses strokes putting in 3 out of 4, he usually misses that cut. So that was that felt good to me that he was able to sort of overcome that and still top 30 in what was the strongest field of the year. That wasn't a major. And I like the Augusta comp. Like, people are going to call me crazy for it, and I don't hear anybody else mentioning it, but this, I'm going to catch heat for this, but Augusta is the Tom Fazio course. Like, I've always said this. He completely redid it. Like, you want to give the credit to Mackenzie and Bobby Jones, but he redid 14 out of 18 holes. His footprints are all over the place. I looked at the course flyovers here. There's like 3 par 3s that play severely downhill or uphill that remind me exactly of the par 3s at Augusta.
Cool.
All of the par 5s, there's 4 of them. They're all in that same range that the 4 par 5s are at Augusta National. Par 72, bent grass, severe undulating, like slopey greens. Like, it reminds me of it. It's almost the exact same yardage and the exact same green size. I'm using it. Lee Westwood is like the king of finishing top 10 at Augusta National. You get a 10-1 on him here, 150-1 overall. You know, why not? On a long shot, there's your reasons why you can waste some money on Lee Westwood.
Okay. We liked, we had the PGA tout last week. We liked Jason Kokrak. It's a bent grass. Again this week, 80-1.
I don't mind it. I haven't done that yet, but yeah, I mean, Fazio, Shadow Creek, a lot of Augusta comps. A lot of people are using Shadow Creek. He won that event there. Great at bent grass putting this year. Something was a little off last week. I'd have to do a little more digging into exactly where he lost his strokes, but he didn't play great.
What about Cameron Champ, who was dialed with the irons last week? That's kind of out of the character of Cameron Champ. Can he carry it over? I mean, he's playing great golf. This is his time to shine.
Yeah, there's something to a lot of these par 4s and par 5s where courses that aren't normally set up to host PGA Tour events, I think, struggle with this in the first couple of years in where they place the tee boxes and where the bunkers are. Because a lot of times those bunkers, even from the back tee, are like in this range of like 270 to 300 yards that are meant to catch the majority of balls. Cameron Champ's over that. Bryson's over that. Rahm's over that. Rory's over. So they can essentially play 5-6 holes on the course without bunkers in play that other people have to deal with. They're right over it. If the rough is negligible, it can turn into bomb and gouge. So a little more info would be helpful on that as tomorrow sort of turns. There's a couple of guys to follow with boots on the ground there. Vegas has been fucking awesome.
Yeah, he'll bomb it over the bunkers.
Yes, he will. Greens and reg, ball striking, approach, off the tee. Like, he's top.
This is not the right. This is a bad number, dude. Like, these are bad numbers. You could look at it's already at 8 compared to these ones that are 9. You can tell that people have bet this. Smart people are betting this. 16 compared to 18. Can you see how that means that people are onto this Johnny Vegas?
He's super cheap in DraftKings. I think that he makes a ton of sense. A guy who's in great form and should set up nicely.
Okay, who was my last name I wanted to ask before we can get the hell out of here? What about Stuart
Mitchell?
Okay, Stuart Sink and Keith Mitchell. They're both 150-1. They're 35-1 to top 5. That's crazy.
Okay, Keith Mitchell. I'll make a case for him, and you take Sink.
Okay,
Mitchell. The amount of confidence you get when you go birdie, birdie, birdie to make your way into this event has to be huge. Like, that was maybe besides his win at the Honda, that was probably the biggest 3-hole stretch of his career to get into this top 70. Unbelievable. Those weren't like 16 was easy, but 17 and 18, nobody was birdieing. He did it on both. He's ball striking the hell out of, like, he has a couple of triples over the last couple of weeks that are absolutely killing him. But if he can avoid those, like, he's right in the hunt. And he played in the final round, in the final pairing, with Rory at Quail Hollow, at Wells Fargo, at the similar Tom Fazio course a couple of months ago. I think that he gained a lot of confidence. And now he's like it frees you up, man. Like, you aren't expecting to play. You're coming in with absolutely nothing to lose, and let's go make some money and somehow get in the top 30, right?
Yeah.
Play another week.
Listen, okay, Stuart Sink has had an amazing season. Stuart Sink is trying to cash in on that season that he's had. Like, this may honestly be one of the last hurrahs for a man who has had a career that's in the Hall of Fame. So, Stuart Sink, better than you think, and he's a 14-1 for a top 10. It's possible. So
not bad.
There you go. Who else is in the chat? We've had some friends in here. Augie's in here. Hey, man. You guys
Thanks, dude.
You're
Appreciate that.
All right. Is that it? Do you have anything to say, or should we just follow you on Twitter at TourPicks, Joe?
Yeah. If we got anything to say, we'll say it there. One more week left in the season. We'll see you at Eastlake, buddy.
It's crazy, dude. And then we'll have to decide. Maybe you and I switch off every other week for the fall, or maybe we skip the fall altogether. We'll just decide that some other day.
We'll do something. Something. I will definitely do the Ryder Cup. We'll see the fall, but yeah, we can. We got a lot of episodes on our belt. We could use a little breather.
Yeah, and I got that child on the way.
And we got 4 toddlers incoming 5th on the way. So, hey, listen, full-time jobs. We spend a lot of time doing this. We've got young families. We appreciate it. We like doing it. We every time that you like this and comment and retweet or whatever it is, it means a lot to us and helps us validate this stuff to our wives who think we're absolutely crazy for doing it.
Yes. Yes, we see you out there. Thank you so much, everybody. Talk to you guys next week for the final of the playoffs Tour Championship. Peace.
Peace.